They'd rather be a sanctuary state and continue to put those individuals above American citizens who built this country, who've raised their families here for generations and just want to be able to walk down the street safely at night and put their kids to bed and live a peaceful life. These individuals would still be out on our streets today, committing crimes and attacking people and harming them and hurting our children if Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnsnon had their way, because their choice has been routinely over and over and over again to release these criminals back on the streets. The debate over so-called sanctuary policy has consequences for our law enforcement officers, but also for the families that live here and the businesses.
We may see militarized immigration enforcement. We may also see National Guard troops. We may even see active duty military and armed vehicles in our streets. We have not called for this. Our people have not asked for this. But nevertheless, we find ourselves having to respond to this.
I don't like going to a town, city, place, a state, and then be criticized by some corrupt or incompetent governor. So for 11 days, there's been no murders. The record goes back years where that's happened. They haven't seen that happen in years. And then people stand up, and instead of thanking us, which they should do, and she's not that bad. She's better than most. But, you know, you have people, I watched in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois is a disaster. I have property there. It's a disaster. So I'm thinking about, you know, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there. I made the statement that next should be Chicago because, as you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now.
The Trump administration is reportedly moving to involve the U.S. military in immigration enforcement in Chicago. A leaked DHS memo has reportedly revealed a request for Defense Department assistance in upcoming ACE removal operations. The plan centers on Naval Station Great Lakes, chosen for its highway access, fuel supplies, and infrastructure. Officials reportedly describe the base as critical for detention, processing, and removal operations in the Chicago region. The memo cites new executive orders signed by Trump declaring immigration a national emergency and invasion. It requests immediate military support for ICE operations to address public safety and national security threats. The document suggests active duty troops may assist, making no mention of the Illinois National Guard. Customs and Border Protection is also being pulled into the operation, according to administration sources. However, local officials strongly oppose the move, calling it an unnecessary military occupation of Chicago. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnston warned the plan threatens civil liberties. The Illinois National Guard said no units have been activated and they have received no official order.
There is not an emergency in the city of Chicago. There is nothing that calls for having troops on the streets of the city of Chicago. We have crime like other cities do, but let's be clear. We are actually in better shape than the 30 biggest cities across the United States. We're in better shape on average, and it is important to recognize that the President of the United States is doing this for theatrics. This is not because we've asked for it. It is not because there is some justice that he is going to seek. It is because he wants to create chaos. That is all this is about. Well, one thing that we're trying to make clear to the entire United States is that this is a great city. Look at how beautiful this city is. This city is moving in the right direction on crime. That we have been, in fact, over the last 4 years, we have seen homicides drop in half. And that is something that the President of the United States should pay attention to. I know he doesn't read. I know he doesn't listen to very many people, but I know he watches television. And so perhaps if somebody from Fox News or from Newsmax is here, they'll cover the fact that Chicago is in much better shape as a result of the work that we are doing to prevent crime, to interrupt crime, to reduce crime, to increase the number of police. Our state police are up during my time in office. I want the president to understand that we do not want troops on the ground in the city of Chicago. Neither do the people of Chicago or the people of the state.
Signing an executive order today that will launch the Protecting Chicago initiative. This is a project that builds on the months of preparation that we have done that has led up to this very moment. Protecting Chicago will ensure that every Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared, and every part of city government is directed to protect the people of Chicago from federal action. This sweeping executive order directs our Department of Law to pursue any and every legal mechanism to hold this administration accountable for violating the rights of Chicagoans. This order affirms that the Chicago Police Department will not collaborate with military personnel on police patrols or civil immigration enforcement. We will not have our police officers, who are working hard every single day to drive down crime, deputized to do traffic stops and checkpoints for the president. This order affirms the CPD officers will be directed to wear CPD uniforms and refrain from wearing masks so that residents can clearly distinguish them from federal agents. And finally, as I said, it establishes the Protecting Chicago initiative, the most sweeping campaign of any city in the country to protect ourselves from the threats and actions of this out-of-control administration. We will protect our Constitution, we will protect our city, and we will protect our people. We do not want to see tanks in our streets. We do not want to see families ripped apart. We do not want grandmothers thrown into the back of unmarked vans. We don't want to see homeless Chicagoans harassed or disappeared by federal agents. We don't want to see Chicagoans arrested for sitting on their porch. That's not who we are as a city, and that's not who we are as a nation. My team and I have spoken with the governor, the county president, and with our federal delegation, and we are in complete alignment.
I was telling some of the people that in a certain way, you really want to be asked to go. You know, I hate to barge in on a city and then be treated horribly by corrupt politicians and bad politicians like a guy like Pritzker. He ought to spend more time in the gym, actually. This guy is a disaster. Gavin Newsom's a disaster. When we went, we saved Los Angeles. You wouldn't have been able to have the Olympics in Los Angeles. You're barely able to have it now. They did lose 25,000 houses to a fire that should have never occurred because they didn't let the water come down from the Pacific Northwest, which you guys don't want to write about. I had to break into the water supply to let the water down. And even now, we want more. We can have much more. It's less than half of what should be coming in. I don't know, they have a political thing about it. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I don't like going to a town, city, place, a state, and then be criticized by some corrupt or incompetent governor where crime is rampant. Like, take a look at D.C. Crime was rampant. It was at the all-time worst. It got really bad during the Biden 4 years. And then I have a mayor stand up and say how crime has reached a 30-year low. 30-year low. People are being killed left and right. And it's not a 30-year low. Think of it. So for 11 days, there have been no murders. The record goes back years where that's happened. They haven't seen that happen in years. And then people stand up, and instead of thanking us, which they should do, and she's not that bad. She's better than most. But, you know, you have people, I watched in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois is a disaster. I have property there. It's a disaster what's going on in Chicago. And you get Pritzker, he's violating our rights. I think this is another men and women's sports thing. I think this is one of those, you know, they call them 80-20 issues. I call them 97-3. I think the Democrats better get smart. And, you know, politically, I hope they don't. But actually, in terms of love for the country, I hope they do, because it would be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, you know, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there, I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person. And when I see what's happening to our cities, and then you send in troops, instead of being praised, They're saying you're trying to take over the republic. These people are sick. But I'm really saying, and I say this to all of you, in a certain way, we should wait to be asked, because they have cities that are so under control, out of control. So we go in and fix it. They take the full credit for it, and they go out and say, I heard it this morning. They're saying how well they've done over the last 10-day period, that they set